A Blavatskyan Theosophical Perspective on Swadhyaya. A quick blast of Theosophy by Dave Marsland of Cardiff Theosophical Society. Swadhyaya is often translated as self-study, but that simple translation does not fully capture its depth. In Indian philosophical and spiritual traditions, Swadhyaya can mean the study of sacred texts, the disciplined examination of the self, and the reflective practice of turning inward in order to understand one's duties, tendencies, and relation to ultimate reality. It is not a casual form of reflection, but a sustained discipline that asks the seeker to look honestly at both inner life and external conduct. A Blavatskyan Theosophical perspective adds another layer to this idea. H.P. Blavatsky emphasized the unity of all life, the hidden structure of reality, and the importance of inner transformation through knowledge. From this perspective, Swadhyaya is not only a method of learning about oneself, but also a path toward spiritual awakening and ethical refinement. It becomes a way of aligning personal insight with universal truth, so that self-knowledge leads not to self-absorption, but to humility, deeper awareness, and moral growth. From a Blavatskyan Theosophical perspective, Swadhyaya should be understood as disciplined self-study that is not merely intellectual reflection, but a moral and spiritual practice of self-knowledge, inner purification, and alignment with universal truth. It asks the seeker to examine the mind with honesty, to notice the hidden motives behind thought and action, and to cultivate a clearer awareness of the forces that shape everyday life. In this view, the self is not a fixed ego isolated from the world. Instead, the self is a layered and evolving being whose growth depends on the careful study of thought, desire, action, and consciousness. Because human beings are often guided by habit, illusion, and surface identity, Swadhyaya becomes a way of looking beneath appearances and recognizing the deeper pattern of one's inner life. It therefore serves not only as a form of reflection, but as a discipline of transformation. Swadhyaya becomes a practice of awakening, one that helps the seeker move beyond illusion and toward a more universal understanding of life. This term Swadhyaya is commonly associated with the study of sacred texts and the study of the self. These two meanings are closely connected. A person studies scripture not only to gain information, but to shape character, discipline attention, and deepen awareness of spiritual truth. At the same time, self-study requires honest reflection on one's habits, motives, and limitations. Swadhyaya is therefore both outward and inward. It is reading and contemplation, but also self-observation and ethical self-correction. In a broad spiritual sense, Swadhyaya assumes that human beings are not fully transparent to themselves. People often act from habit, desire, fear, or social conditioning without recognizing the deeper causes of their behavior. Self-study interrupts this automatic living. It asks the individual to pause, observe, and inquire. What am I thinking? Why do I desire this? What patterns govern my choices? What is the relation between my inner life and the larger order of existence? These questions make Swadhyaya a practice of awareness rather than simple self-analysis. A Blavatskyan Theosophical reading of Swadhyaya would emphasize that this practice is not limited to psychological introspection. It is also metaphysical. The self is not merely a personality with preferences and memories. It is part of a larger spiritual reality, and self-study should reveal the difference between the temporary personality and the deeper, more enduring principle within. In this sense, Swadhyaya becomes a way of distinguishing appearance from essence.